Now, Sports Talk with Broads. Here's Hunter Brody.
What? Garrett Stubbs, lefty, 2 strikes, 2 outs, and this dude hits a bomb to right field to take the series. Didi Gregorius gets hit by a pitch, right? He gets to third base. Nobody knocks him in. Earlier in the game, Garrett Stubbs goes to second base with the leadoff double. Nobody gets him in. You had Rhys Hoskins triple. My dog seems to be a little flustered right now. What's wrong? Why are you barking in my face? Don't do this. You're getting frustrated because I'm showing my excitement. Please, come give me Oh, she's scared. Okay, I'm not scared of this Philly squad because I'm enjoying every damn moment of what I'm seeing when you get your backup catcher doing things like that. How are you not excited? I didn't know how to even type his damn name out because my fingers were moving with so much intensity when it all went down. I misspelled his last name. I only put one B. Then the secondary tweet I throw out there, I only put one R in the name Garrett. That's where I was trying to comprehend the fact that this dude just saved a series where, let's be honest, Kyle Gibson pitches a gem. He goes into the 9th. Yesterday, I was begging him to at least give us 7. And that was asking a lot considering he went 7 one time this entire year. It's always 6 and 3 earned runs, 6 and 2 earned runs, 5 and 2/3 or so. So I'm sitting here like, dude, we need you to step up knowing what type of team you're playing, knowing how much you have caused us issues. We need you, vet. We need you, Gibby. And he was damn electric out there. Connor Brogdon gets 2 Ks in the 9th after Gibson allowed a base runner. Alec Boehm makes a stellar play by foul territory. And he also had, of course, it was a single, but he had a big hit there in the 9th. It did help with the defensive alignment playing no doubles defense, but he gets on base, and look, you got to take advantage of what's going on there, and boom, Garrett Stubbs. How about JT Realmuto? When he gets that pinch hitting spot, he looked a little all over the place, in my opinion, right? He's complaining that one of the strikes wasn't a strike where it was clear and obvious it was in the zone, and then when he took another swing, he's like just flinging his bat backwards. I'm going, is this guy even mentally here? Somehow he earns a walk, and it's crazy how many emotions roll through your body within a 4-hour baseball game, a 3-hour baseball game when watching the Phillies compete. There were some nice short innings out of Gibson. Just a couple of pitches, in and out, 2 minutes or so, 3 minutes, and then we're going to the next half inning. I mean, at times, Gibby was electric. Really good usage of the slider when it hits that outside part of the plate. The righty's in the box. He was pinpoint accurate there, and you could tell that they were swinging at it, and they couldn't get a hold of it. Of course it can't because it's a couple inches off the plate there, but it's really a weapon, and just awesome. You know, I saw his sinker run in on some right-handers as well. Got a couple double plays in there. Didi Gregorius made an excellent play defensively at shortstop where he just makes a magnificent play with his glove and bang, fires it over to Rhys Hoskins, who makes a nice snag there. So you had some things incorporated throughout such a hideous offensive night or offensive afternoon with a lot of these base runners. I don't know how, when Rhys Hoskins triples, Bryce Harper, Nick Castellanos, and Didi Gregorius look as terrible as they do with some ground outs to the third base side. It's totally unacceptable. Now, I saw a lot of fans upset that Rhys Hoskins didn't hustle out of the box, and here's what I will tell you about that. Did he burst out of the box with 100%? No. Am I upset about it? Not really. This dude gave you 6 RBI last game. This dude's on a tear. This guy's on a hot streak. If Rhys Hoskins gets a hold of one the way that he does, and he watches it a little bit because he thinks it's gone, and he's not putting his head down and running around like he's Matt Vierling, or running around like he's Stubbs, or running around like a Roman Quinn, is that going to bother me? No, you got a triple from Rhys Hoskins with 0 outs to lead an inning. You know what I'm pissed off at? Everybody behind him. That's what I'm aggravated with. Everybody behind him. All right, I'm mad at Reese. I'm despising what we saw at the plate after him to not get that run across the board. So, I mean, we all felt it, right? We all felt that horrible feeling inside of our stomachs where it just seemed like it was not going to happen. You'd get a gem out of Kyle, and you would see a 1-0 loss because that's what this team does. This team loses to the Marlins. They find a way to piss away a third game against the Marlins until that 9th inning when they showed fight. And look, I mean, I heard Jason Stark say this on The Fanatic, too, about the usage of JT. You are grinding this guy into the ground when he's playing too much. Look at his innings. Look at the amount of games he's playing. It's time to utilize Garrett Stubbs some more. And it's not because Garrett Stubbs is some unbelievable maniac who's phenomenal and elite at the sport of baseball. Right now, he's on a nice run, and he's a good player. Don't get me wrong. He's a nice backup spark plug that's always prepared, always ready for the moment, and always engaged to make sure whenever he does get a chance, he's going to maximize that chance the best he possibly can. So he has all the intangibles of what a backup catcher is supposed to be. But I think you're just wearing this guy out in JT Realmuto, and you have to find a better balance between the two. And right now, Garrett Stubbs is performing at a higher rate than JT Realmuto is. So just let's think about this a little bit more. Let's stop running him into the ground and forcing him to play so damn much. And let's give Garrett Stubbs a chance to ride this momentum and see if he could do some more damage. Dude, this was lefty-lefty with 2 strikes. They were down to their last final strike. How many times have we been on the other side? How many times have we been on the, oh no, you gotta be kidding me, Familia allowed that to happen? Or realistically, it would be Hector Neris in the 9th. What happened? David Hale? Brandon Workman? I had somebody tweet at me during the Familia inning in Game 2 of this series. Oh, why can't we get Ian Kennedy back? What would it take to find Ian Kennedy? Do you know how low of a bar it is if we are sitting here begging for somebody like Ian Kennedy to return to this team? That guy stunk. That guy was awful. The best part about that Spencer Howard trade was Kyle Gibson. I mean, the dude went into the 9th today. That was incredible. Gutsy. I don't know if he's getting enough praise. We're shining all of the lights on Garrett. But wow, when you see the replay, right, where, first off, talk about a beautiful swing. Talk about fantastic. A+. That's the way you dial it up when you're staring at what to do. Go watch that again in slow motion. And when he turns to the dugout and he's screaming at the top of his lungs, he's throwing the bat down and he's jumping up and down towards first base. And then you see everybody in the dugout jumping over the railing. You got guys leaving their feet. Kyle Gibson's what, 78? How old is he, 92? Did you see how high he was getting up there? It looked like Zach Eflin, too. And keep in mind, my man had to leave yesterday's game with a little bit of a knee injury. Apparently, the next start is still scheduled properly. But we'll see how that all shapes up. It's crazy what adrenaline does. It's crazy what happens when your emotions get the best. You just start going nuts because Garrett Stubbs. Because Garrett Stubbs. Garrett Stubbs. We're talking about Garrett Stubbs. Oh. I mean, forget about Kyle Schwarber with a 2-0 count, watching a curveball go over the heart of the plate, and then after that, a 2-1 pitch, bang, fastball right across home plate, right? Like, I saw, he ended up striking out, and the pitch, I thought, was a ball all afternoon long, and then it clipped the top of the strike zone. Technically, and if you want to bring robot umps into the mix, that would have been called a strike with robot umps. The problem is, it wasn't a strike throughout the entire game, so you're going to hold off there. I don't have an issue if Kyle Schwarber on a 2-0 count is looking fastball. It ends up being a breaking pitch, so he doesn't swing. The 2-1 pitch is the one that he needs to let it rip. So clearly he was probably thinking the alternative, which is, I'm getting a fastball here. Oh, it's a curveball. Hey, maybe I'm getting a curveball again. Oh, I got a fastball. Where he got fooled, and, I'm disappointed on the 2-1 pitch that he didn't swing at way more than the 2-0. That was disappointing. Odubel Herrera. He tries to create a spark by beating out an infield single. And it's like, okay, let's see if we can get some buster. Let's see what we got out of Odubel. He runs to second base. I don't know what Jazz was doing. He didn't tag him. Thought he ran out of the base paths. But here's Odubel running 4 feet off the bag. And then he has to find a way to try and get his hand back in. But he was called out. Why did you leave the bag? Why did you run past the bag? I have no idea what was happening there. So all of these scenarios and situations, it was just a cluster, you know what? But the way they won, they don't do this in previous seasons. They normally lose to the Marlins. This was really damn important. Most would look around the league and just say, oh, the Phillies beat the Marlins. Okay, they took 2 or 3 against the Marlins. No. It's way deeper than that. It's way more valuable to this clubhouse than just that. It sets a damn tone. And realistically, for the last 2 weeks, we have highlighted this series way more than you should against a team that realistically isn't that sharp. You see their starting rotation with Sandy starting things off. After coming off of a loss, and your winning streak was snapped with a loss. So this puppy was highlighted. And you're sweeping teams, you're going into Milwaukee, you're hitting home runs off Josh Hader. Do you see what I'm saying here? We can go through the line of, whoa, hold on a second. Now, that doesn't mean I'm claiming that there's some masterful piece either, because let's be damn clear, they're not. So what's the middle of not the same as under Joe Girardi and Gabe Kapler and the piss-poor failures and coming up short when you have more talent within your limited roster, but you weren't able to execute to show it? What's the middle between that and then something serious? They're in between that. They're in between. Zach Wheeler tomorrow. When you start a 5-game set against the Washington Nationals. And speaking of Zach Wheeler, let me tell you about my friends over at Versus Game. It's a fantastic app that allows me and you to connect even closer than before. The way this works is I come up with a question and you can make money by answering that question correctly. There is a link down below in the description. If you click on that link and download the app, utilizing that link and find Broads on Versus Game, you will see the question, and I will give it to you right now. Will Zach Wheeler pitch at least 7 innings on Thursday night? Versus Game is an opportunity for you to make money from your knowledge. You as the player can play these questions for free, or you can play with real money, $1 up to $100 against other people that Versus Games finds for you. I play it all the time. I am a player and I am a question maker. It is tremendous. It's a lot of fun. I talk about it on the shows and on Twitter and social media as well. So absolutely make sure you check that out. The link is down below in the description. Versus Game. Talk about an adrenaline rush, fellas. Talk about a really fun way to finish out this series against the Marlins. We're going to take some phone calls, 856-442-9805, so I can get your thoughts on this amazing, incredible way to win a damn baseball game. And let's start things off here. Welcome on in. Good afternoon. You are on Broads Media.
I told you the other day it was like a twilight zone. They don't win these games under Joe Girardi. 1, 2. Should I be worried about JT? Like, what is he having a mental funk? I saw him dropping balls yesterday. He's gotten a funk at the plate. I know this is baseball. You go through your ups and downs, but this is something else.
Yeah, to answer your question, should you be nervous about what JT Realmuto is? The answer is yes. He has been horrendous. He cannot come up large for you with bases loaded. It seems grounding out into a double play is inevitable whenever that is the case. And yeah, I'm not confident in him. I don't feel good when he's at the plate, and he did earn a big walk in that 9th inning, but he did look out of control at the same exact time where you're looking back and complaining that an obvious strike is a strike when, dude, everyone could see it. That is an obvious strike. and he's losing his bat, where I know he got a result that we like, but he didn't feel or look right in my eyes at the plate. So is there a concern? Absolutely. Until he turns it around and proves to us that this is just a fluke and this is not really him, yeah, I'm right there with you. I feel horrible about JT Realmuto.
And, like, I know he's considered, BCIB.
Well, that's because there's no good catchers in baseball more than anything else. It's not that he is some master. Yeah, it's not that he's some masterpiece that you can't win without. It's nobody values the position.
Exactly. And I don't know. I love what Garrett Stubbs did today. Came up huge in that ninth inning, especially such a great start finally from Kyle Gibson. You don't want to waste that shit.
Well, don't say finally. The guy's giving you quality starts. He keeps you involved in games. He'll give you a quality start. He'll give you 6 innings with just a couple earned runs, and then from there, it's on your offense to score some runs. From there, it's, hey, we got a couple guys on base. Let's drive them in. I won't say finally we got a good start out of Gibson. I mean, realistically, Gibson going 9-8, that's not Kyle Gibson. That's not what his job is. Now, I told everybody yesterday, because of how big of a series this is, I want him to step the hell up, and I feel he can because of his experience. And look at that. Bada bing, bada boom. We got a little Broad special, a nice little platter waiting for us all here to talk about what he did out there with that slider usage, with that sinker, getting a couple double plays where bang, you got it. Didi Gregorius over there scoops it up nicely, steps on second base, and throws out at first. So all around, this is more than you could ever imagine, but this isn't really Kyle Gibson. He stepped up big time. Not what he really is, but all around, you get a solid Kyle Gibson. Way more than you don't get a Kyle Gibson. And Mr. 89 in the chat says these 8 innings from Gibson should not be overlooked. I think it's number 2 on the storylines. In the positives, there's 3 heavy things to analyze here, right? One, it's hard to get away from Garrett Stubbs. As great as Kyle Gibson is, your backup catcher who steps in when your highest paid catcher is terrible and an absolute trash can at the moment. That's number 1. You could argue that that's one in the same here in terms of tiers of dialogue, is how bad the Phillies were with runners in scoring position. Didi at third, Stubbs with the leadoff double, Rhys Hoskins at third with the middle of your lineup up and the meat of your order up. I mean, that's probably just as heavy as a conversation as Kyle Gibson. Now, one's in the negative light while the other one is shining in the extreme positive. But in terms of importance and in terms of where I would put them in a list of, hey, we need to talk about these things, they're probably right there in the same, right underneath of the man, the myth, the legend, Garrett Stubbs. What do you think happens tomorrow with this lineup? Does JT sit again? Let's see what Rob does. What does that say to JT? What does that say to Stubbs if he's out of the lineup? Hey, buddy, you know your role. You did your role fine, but you know your role. You'll be in there again soon. Or, hey, JT, you could probably use another one. I lean towards that. Now, who's pitching tomorrow for the Nationals? Because if it's a lefty, let's see here. Who's pitching? We have Patrick Corbin, lefty. So, we'll see. To me, that screams JT Realmuto is going to be in the lineup. All right, Rob. You're on the clock. Let's go to Amadeo, who was at the ballpark today. What was that atmosphere like?
Very frustrating through the first 8 innings. Kyle Gibson was absolutely fantastic. For not hitting with runners in scoring position and not giving any run support is a travesty with how good he pitched. But the way the ballpark was in that bottom of the 9th inning, and especially when you see Garrett Stubbs go deep, like from where I was sitting, you knew that ball was gone. And then you see the reaction from him, you see the reaction from the dugout, you see the reaction in the crowd. It was absolutely amazing. I cannot stop watching that Stubbs reaction.
I agree. The slow-mo of him when you're seeing his face right caught up there. And I also saw, I think it was an MLB Network view, which was almost behind left field or so. And, right field. It was kind of like right center field-ish. And you could see the fans. You could see all of it within one from more of a distance. And the amount of times that's been on replay. But you're absolutely right with the one of him screaming and the one of him looking at the dugout. It's one of those that gives you the goosebumps, and you can only imagine what that feeling is like. I'm sure he blacked out while running those bases.
Oh, I'm sure I blacked out when that home run happened. I was like, oh, God, thank God I didn't leave this game. Thank God.
Well, you did make a joke to me before that if things go sour by the fifth inning, you would leave the game. So you lied to me. I don't know how to interpret this because you told me you were going to take one for the team. Now, the result that we were looking for happened anyway. So what I'm going to need to do is I need a 24-hour digestion type of time frame here so I can fully assess what to do with this. Maybe you're banned. Maybe you're banned from the calls. Maybe you're banned from the stadium, or maybe you get free tickets. I don't know how this is going to go.
Look, I told you, if it was more than a 5-run lead, bottom of the 9th inning, or 7th inning, actually, I would leave. It was 1-0. I was in the shade. I have a feeling, they were getting all these opportunities. They were eventually going to score, you would think, hopefully. Thank God it happened now.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Now, I will read for the people the exact text message that I received. Who's we? We the people. Amadeo texted me / the people. This was the text message. Let's see here. If they're down by 5 in the 7th, I'll leave to spark the comeback. All right. I guess you're right. Damn. I'll have to ask the people and see what they feel about this nonsense. They can decide what happens. But, man, you know what? I tweeted this out even though I know Andrew Knapp hit a walk-off bomb before. I believe it was like the 12th or 13th inning when it happened. And I said, Andrew Knapp would never. And, of course, I start to get a bunch of responses in regards to the video of him doing that. But come on now, fellas. I'm just somewhat still in awe, and I'm somewhat still in disbelief on how ridiculous that is. The more and more I let it sink in, it's pretty ridiculous for it to happen that way, and you just never know. And we've sat through a lot more pain than we have really nice moments and a lot of strong positive moments over 3 seasons, but it really is hard to dissect the wild level of absurdity. And I almost wonder, and I know we're biased because this is the team that we care about and this is the team that we rock every single pitch with. And there are some outliers, right? The Dodgers probably won't deal with similar feelings. The Yankees this year, probably not, although in other years, maybe it is. See, the Yankees is weird because you think of their fan base and you think of their expectations and what their organization is. Let's go to the standings last year, because the way that Yankees fans talked about the Yankees is they sucked. They were horrible. They were a pathetic team. But realistically, last season, they won 92 games. 92. They were 92-70. It's just unfortunate that in a division like the AL East, it ends up putting you third behind the Boston Red Sox, and then you're on the road instead of a better position. While the Phillies, who we argued about, were a brutal baseball team, went 82-80 and didn't make the postseason. If you heard both fan bases speak about what they were, you would think that they would be in the same class, but it's actually not even close. So I'm just saying, do we go through things way differently than everyone else when it comes to this obnoxious up and down, the obnoxious peak and valleys? Is this how it is in every team, in every fan base, and it's just the nature of baseball when we pour our emotions out the way that we do and we open up our hearts to be so accepted, or, to allow our emotions to be so raw? Is that a baseball thing? Because with a blink of an eye, let's pretend we're the Marlins. You think you win this series, and in 0.1 second, Garrett Stubbs snags it from your soul, and now the Phillies. Think about how we feel right now. And think about how we felt in that 9th inning. Think about where we were in that 8th inning. Think about where we were at about 4 o'clock in the afternoon and where we are right now. It is a monster change. Is that the nature of what one swing of the bat can do? Or is it we deal with way more nonsense than everybody else? And I don't know the answer to that question. I'm honestly just talking to you and asking that question out loud. I have no idea. Just like anything, it's probably some sort of mixture. Knowing the bullpen struggles, and knowing how hot and cold this offense can be as a unit, and knowing the defensive flaws. Speaking of defensive flaws, I heard Jimmy Rollins somewhat subtweet Alec Boehm in this game when Didi made a spectacular defensive play. Hello, puppies. What are you guys doing in the basement? See, I'm here alone. My fiance's out right now, so I'm on puppy duty. Normally, I have my fiance upstairs hanging out on the couch, so they can be quiet and not bark while we record, right? We don't bark when we record? That is correct. Go upstairs, Zola. Jimmy Rollins with Didi Gregorius makes a play defensively, right? And then he goes, going back to last night's play, when Rhys Hoskins didn't make that pick, what you need to do in this league is make the simple plays. Make the plays you're supposed to make. And when you do that, and it becomes second nature. And I'm paraphrasing a little bit. But that's what makes you something in this league. Once again, paraphrasing a little bit. But he was trying to express how important it is to make the plays you're supposed to make. And then when you make a play like Didi, it's spectacular, and that takes you to the next level. Well, he talked about how, when you one hop a throw and short hop a throw, you got to set your feet and be able to make the throws. And I'm like, oh, he's kind of taking a little shot there at Alec Boehm. And you're not wrong, even though I thought Rhys Hoskins should have made the pick at first in Game 2 of this Marlins series there in the 9th inning when Corey Knebel blew up. And thankfully, we heard from Rob Thompson that it seems they're going to go more of a committee with the closure role. What are you doing, Renz? You coming down here to hang out with us? All right, we got our puppy here on the show. He wants to hang out with us. You gonna sit, or are you just gonna stand here on my thighs and hurt me? All right, I don't think he knows what's going on. Say hello to the camera. Amazing. See, this is what happened. You ever see the movie? What is it? Daddy Daycare, I guess it is, or one of those movies where the fathers have to take control of the house and take control of the kids when the mother's away. This is what ends up happening. The puppies get a little bit more freedom, and they do some things that they shouldn't be doing. But it's all right. It's all right. All right, we'll go back to the phones here. He's just going to chill here on my lap, I guess, for the remainder of the show. Good afternoon. You are on Broads Media.
Hello.
Hey, man.
Hi, what an emotional game,
You're not wrong.
Garrett Stubbs showing up JT the waste of JT, like $23 million who? But anyway, my point, you were talking about the offense and how it was hot and cold, and I thought of an example with the National League East. The Mets are on first. You Mets are first. And their offense is, like, almost no one is in a slump. Like, that's my problem with the Phillies offense. I guess throughout the whole year, this game, the series, past years, it's like no one's ever on the same page. Like, in the beginning of the year, it was Harper, Boehm, and Segura, and no one else. Now it's Harper, Schwarber, Hoskins, Gregorius, and no one else. Like, there's always... It's okay if one person is struggling because, not everyone in the lineup is going to be perfect, but most of these guys in the lineup are expected to be big, and they're never all playing consistently at the same time, and that leads to runners left on base. And
yeah, I don't disagree with what you're saying there, and I think my answer to you is why is that happening, and that's sort of what your question is. How come it's happening to this team? And I think maybe a product of that is you're bringing in bigger, newer guys. Where Kyle Schwarber, Castellanos admitted to this publicly that he doesn't feel comfortable. He doesn't feel right now when he's at the plate. And I think the answer to that is they're trying to find gel, and they're trying to find a mold and a brand behind this lineup. So now you would think it's just, it's so simple. You're hitting behind Bryce Harper. How could it be hard? How can it be a problem? How can you not see better pitches when that's the case? And I know from a very, you can't be hitting the microphone here. You hit the microphone, it makes noises. You can't, Sorry, I got distracted because the puppy. Sorry, I'm trying to get back on track here. I know in theory you would say something along the lines of how could it be harder if you're batting behind Bryce Harper? But I think this team, when Kyle Schwarber was leading off and he stunk, and then he got moved and he was hitting around 6, and now he's getting back to the leadoff spot and he's doing a little bit better. And Reese is now hitting second, where before he was hitting deeper in the lineup and Alec Boehm was hitting second. And at one point you tried Alec Boehm first. I think it really becomes more of this team needing some time to establish what fits them best and how this team is going to rake and who is best behind each player. I like Didi behind Castellanos before a JT Realmuto batting behind Castellanos, because then you think of it as Schwarber's a lefty, Reese is a righty, Bryce is a lefty, Castellanos is a righty, Didi is a lefty, and then you can go maybe JT as a righty, and then from there you can fill out your later parts of the lineup. You still have Gene Segura whenever he comes back later in the season, who is a righty. You have Odubel Herrera, and it seems with Mickey Moniak, who got sent down. Didn't really have too much time to talk about that, even though there's not that much to discuss. In 25 at-bats, he struck out 11 times, and he looks completely overmatched at the plate. So you have that. But Matt Vierling, Odubel Herrera, the combination between these guys, I would think that they can maybe find a little bit more. And by now, would I expect there to be better? Yeah, by now, yes. Yes, I think it's been a slow start to that. And hopefully at some point it can shift to more of an intensity when it comes to everyone being on the page at the same time, at least maybe 70% of the batting order on the same page at the same time. So right now we just kind of have to wait and see how it plays out. But you are correct to state that it's a couple of guys during weak stretches. It's Rhys Hoskins right now. It seems to always be Bryce Harper, but where is Nick Castellanos? And it's not that I don't expect Nick Castellanos to break out, but I almost wonder, this is Philadelphia. It's not Cincinnati. And it's not the Detroit Tigers either. It's Philadelphia. Different level of media attention, different level of sports talk radio, different level of articles, different level of criticism. Is that getting to him a little bit? That's all. He could overcome it. He has that type of attitude because realistically his attitude is, I don't care. It's not going to upset me. We've heard him speak, and we've seen him have his interviews, and we've listened to his approach, and it doesn't seem like those things would really bother him. But it's different playing in an East Coast city, and it's different playing in a city like Philadelphia. Do I believe he can snap out of it? Absolutely 100%. To this point, though, is it piling up on him? Just a question I am asking. All right, we will take another call. Thank you so much for tuning into the show and chiming in. You're on the air.
So, bro, do you think that JT Realmuto, so what I saw in Miami and then maybe like the first year and a half, 2 years in Philadelphia was just a guy that just chokes up on the bat, really good barrel accuracy, and it just seems like he's swinging out of his shoes. Like, I don't know if he's getting too caught up with the whole, I got to hit a dinger every time I'm there, but he's laid on the fastball, and, he wails on those off-speed pitches. It almost seems like he swings out of his shoes, and it's like if he just hits for contact, I feel like the ball just carries over the fence for him more when he's just trying to put bat on the ball.
Yeah, I don't think he's going up there every single at-bat and saying, I need to hit a home run, especially right now, because he's in such a slump. He's probably trying to break down the process and say more of, let me just, get back to simpler times. Let me not overthink things and go up to the plate and make some strong contact. But yeah, you're right. Those off-speed pitches that are a couple inches off of the plate, he's like lunging forward and just somewhat smacking it to the left side, and he's kind of putting himself in a bad position when he does that. So, if it was very simple to just say, stop thinking about hitting home runs. I don't think he is. I don't think he's at the plate right now saying, I desperately need to hit a home run right now. That's not really how JT Realmuto thinks. He's not Rhys Hoskins, right? When Rhys Hoskins is slumping, is there a time where we wonder if he's trying to hit too much of a home run? Same with Castellanos, same with Kyle Schwarber. Those are the style of players where I can agree at times they probably do swing out of their shoes too much to try and create some sort of huge boom. But JT doesn't do that that normally. So I don't know if he's trying to hit too many home runs, but is he in his head? Absolutely, absolutely. This version of JT is probably the worst JT Major League Baseball has seen.
Yeah, it's crazy. And then also too. So I'll say one more thing, and then I'll end it on a good note. But it's pretty sad to see all week that, a leadoff double, a leadoff triple. We've had bases loaded 4 or 5 times in the past few games, and are responsible for 1 run. That kind of worries me a little bit. Just our situational, timely hitting and hitting with runners in scoring position. That is, I don't know, it needs to improve, It
does, and I'll take the managerial approach to this, the coach speak, if you will. The fact that they're getting there, I'm not worried that over time they become runs, that we end up knocking in more runs, especially, look, either JT gets better or somebody else is batting there. So whenever you do load the bases, it's not JT grounding out into a double play. It's Didi Gregorius roping one down the right field side, or it's Didi Gregorius going the other way, which we've seen a handful of times this season. So I'll say it's a good thing that you're getting a triple. It's a good thing you're getting a leadoff double. It's a great thing you're loading up the bases. And yeah, it sucks that 0 runs are crossing home plate. But if you keep doing that with this type of firepower and with this type of offense, more times than not, you will get what you're looking for. So I'll play the numbers game. Maybe I end up getting boned on that. Maybe I end up getting, smacked in the face with that, if you will, and getting screwed with that philosophy. But I'll take it knowing what these players can do at their best. And there's a lot of guys that we need more from. Nick Castellanos, very underwhelmed with him. And, he doesn't look comfortable at all. At all. He looks terrible at times at the plate there, where it's like, come on, dude. What are we doing here? You're too good of a hitter to look that lost. Will it look the same in July? Will it look the same in August? I don't know. Rhys Hoskins. Let's use Rhys Hoskins as the example. He stunk this year. Stunk. Right now, think about how everybody's talking about him. He's helping you. He's carrying you. 6 RBI. He's keeping you in games. He's hitting a triple for the meat and potatoes of your lineup to have a chance to score you, right? This dude is on a tear. He stunk for months. A disaster for months. Are we going to be saying a very similar thing and make very similar comments about Castellanos the same way we're talking about Rhys, where in July, there's a 2-week run of homer, double, 3 hits, 4 hits, 2 singles and a double, 2 singles, a triple, and 3 RBI. Oh, he's helping us without Castellanos, where would we be right now? Probably because he's too good to be this quiet for much longer. So I'll take my odds. I want to thank everybody so much for hanging out with me today. Thank you all so much. A new series begins tomorrow. Let's see if they can keep this momentum rolling. If you're new to the channel, hit the subscribe button, hit the thumbs up button too. If you are looking to buy tickets to go to any game out there, utilize the promo code BROADS at SeatGeek's checkout page for $20 off of your purchase. And then lastly, TikTok at Broads Media. Make sure you're hitting the follow button there. Thank you guys all so much for hanging out with me, and I will catch you.